Hello, and welcome to Inches and Cubes, a Warhammer 40k podcast presented by Encounter Wargaming. Our fearless hosts are me, Paul Mr. Fist Fowler,
Point and click Nick Kozlo,
and
Adam Truaxe, the truest axe to ever axe an axe.
And we'll be guiding you through our favorite parts of the hobby, so grab your cubes and come with us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Inches and Cubes podcast. Last week, we recapped the psychic phase, how morale works, and the new unit types in the 8th edition of 40k, and we're really excited to cover some more 8th edition content this week. Somebody who made a logo for us.
You can hear our voices. And maybe you saw the new logo that we have that was generously designed by Chaz Wilson, a club member who's was really nice and did that for us. He's also a great commission painter. You can check him out on Facebook or Instagram, and that's at Armies of Chaz, and that's Chaz with an S, not a Z. So check him out if you have any needs like that. Super nice guy. You can hear him smile when he speaks. Thanks to Chaz.
Thanks, Chaz.
Thanks, Jazz.
Awesome.
Nick, you've got a handsome young man sitting next to you. Did you want to introduce us to him?
That's not just the mayor. I'm very happy to introduce our first guest, a good friend of all of ours here, and a club member as well, Mr. Connie.
He expressly asked not to be called Connor. You want me to do this? Coming up is Connor the Hair Collie.
Thanks for the introduction, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show. Really excited.
Sweet.
Yep.
So, hey, guys, this week we are going to cover different weapons, unit profiles for some units that have the Warhammer community website has released recently, how to make your army battle forged, which everybody's excited to know about, what data sheets look like, and the points and power levels for how to level out and balance our games coming up. And so actually Connor's going to take us through that one. So why don't we, to kick it all off, have you just tell us about your hobby resume?
Sure. So it's funny, I listened to your guys' first podcast, and everybody said how they had started the hobby getting in with orcs. And when I was like 11 or 12 years old, I had a ton of space orcs. I thought they were so fun and so funny and like scary too. There's just a great mix of the whole universe. So I've gotten back into the hobby over the past like 5 years. Picked up the orcs again. I've done some chaos stuff. I wanted something a little more competitive, so I have a drop pod Space Marine army. It's my own chapter that I made up. And I'm just starting to get back into the fluffy side of the hobby, going deep into 30k Horse Heresy.
Mm-hmm. Connor actually hates himself, and so he decided he was going to paint his drop pod army in split colors. So half of his marine is beige, the other half is dark gray.
The first one looked really, really good, and then I had to paint like 60 more of them.
I don't know why you did that to yourself. Now I understand why you went with Iron Hands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for 30
For 30k?
Spray it black and it's done. It's good to go.
You're doing yourself a disservice. You don't just spray it black.
Awesome. So let's talk about our hobby progress. Guys, we do this every episode. We just talk about what we've been building or painting. We decided early on that buying models does not count as hobby progress. And so hopefully we'll spare you that. And then also our games played. So I built a Fire Raptor. And also we've been making a ton of terrain for the new store coming out. Nick, you want to tell them a little bit about the new store?
Yeah, so there's a new store opening up in Toronto. It's taking the place of Dueling Grounds. It's going to be in the same spot, which is behind the Pizza at Brock and Bloor. It's called the Sword and Board. New owners are fantastic guys, and they've asked Hogtown 40k to help them get their wargaming terrain set up. So the past couple weeks, we've been brainstorming and crunching out some terrain.
So we seem to have some construction hanging out in the background, which seems to fit the theme of a new store and doing construction and renovating the place and making new tables for it. So we've got this cool Prometheum pipe network that we've been building. Paul and I sat around last Thursday and planned out 3 new tables for it. An alien jungle-ish world table and a cool ice table and
Yeah, and then what was the last one we did? Oh, like a
Demon World.
Yeah, a Demon World, with basically an idea that we're going to be stealing from Mini Wargaming, but I don't care. They're nice guys and have good ideas, and smart people steal good ideas from everywhere. Yeah, so that's going to be a cool table to work on. The ice table, I've seen some of the work that we've been doing on it, and it looks phenomenal. I'm really proud of how that came together.
Mm-hmm. We've got these big glaciers that look like two glacier fronts collided, and they're starting to crack up out of the earth. And yeah, just really impressed with what we've come up with so far. So hey, Nick, why don't you talk about your hobby progress?
Well, I've mainly been working on the terrain as well. Last week we were putting together the Prometheum pipelines, just hacksawing them up and sticking them into connector bits. And then last night we got really started into the winter table. So James, another club member, and I designed the actual glacier. We're calling them ice flows. It's not what they are,
No.
but they're ice flows, just for mapping out the table. So basically 2 glacier fronts, as Adam said, colliding, just lots of shards of styrofoam and cardboard. You're going to be able to hide a full rhino behind it. They're going to look really, really good once they get some paint and some texture on them. So I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah.
And we've only got till June 17th to get these things done. So we're going to be cracking along on this terrain in the next couple of weeks for sure.
Yep. Kind of what you've been working on.
So Heresy Train has no brakes. I'm actually gearing up for a big summer campaign that's planned at the new Sword and Board store. We have some club members planning a 1-day Horus Heresy campaign. So I'm trying to get a ton of Iron Hand stuff done. So I finished recently a super old, out of production Proteus Land Raider.
That is one of the coolest things I've ever
They're
seen.
so fun, man. It's just like a ball of treads and last cannons. It's sick. It's awesome.
But you have 3 of those, right?
I have 2, and then I have a Spartan. So I'm actually I have to do the Spartan still. I have some Terminators to finish, but I finished that, and I actually built and fully magnetized my 3rd Deimos Predator for that campaign as well.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna be running the Armored Breakthrough. So the Predators are my troops. I'm gonna have 3 of them, and then my Sicaran is my HQ, which is awesome. So it's like all tanks all the time. It's gonna be great.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's an interesting rite of war. I don't think I've ever seen anybody play that on the table.
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
It's tanks and dreads. That's the whole list.
That's so cool.
And if you guys are interested in any sort of this kind of thing, Connor actually does a really cool glow effect, pretty much just by dry brushing it.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Well, the green is fantastic. Yeah.
it's like this. I don't know what the paint's called. It's like the lime green Games Workshop paint, and I have a really old, just crappy brush. The bristles are all broken on it. It's all splintered out, and I just dry brush it in like a circular motion around the area that I want to get the glow effect, and it doesn't look like an airbrush, but it like gets that kind of same.
Mm-hmm. It's probably the best I've seen without using an airbrush.
Oh,
Thanks,
definitely.
pretty good.
Thank you, man.
Unless without taking 40 hours just to do one.
Oh, it's super
blend
fast.
glow
Yeah.
effect, right? Yeah.
It's like paint it all white, glow on top. That's it.
Yeah, I actually stole that technique for the librarian I did for Astro.
Super easy.
Yeah.
So fun.
And talking about your Deimos Predators, that reminds me. I need my Deckle stuff back, Connor.
Oh, yeah. I've been hogging that for sure.
I was looking for it the other day, and I was like, I'm just going to use vinegar. It's not the same. If you're
Of course
doing
it's not the same.
If you're doing Deckles, you need the micro sol and micro sets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
it makes
vinegar
it so
does not help.
Yeah.
You're up, Paul?
Yeah, so my my hobby progress is also the 30K campaign that Connor just mentioned. I'll be playing in that. So I have been doing dry fit some assembly on some Tataros pattern Terminators, because I'm going to be doing the the Pride of the Legion Rite of War, just because I love Terminators, and I figured why not add one more squad in there. The small unit of Custodes and the Shield Captain, they're done. I think I mentioned that last time. And also I've been spending a lot of time, like Adam just said, designing and building the terrain. And I have to say, I'm like really proud of how the club has like come together, and like we're all working on that. It's cool to see a bunch of industrious nerds nerding away in a big nerd pile. What's the mass noun of nerds? Like an UG of nerds? I don't know.
Sure, let's go with UG.
Yeah, we'll figure that
A
out.
flock.
Yeah.
But for anybody else who's listening and you're in Toronto area and you want to check out the club and what we do, on June 3rd we're going to be doing a big build day for terrain. So hop on by the old Dueling Grounds, the new Sword and Board, and knock on the door. And if someone lets you in, gotta know the password first. And
It's
you can come
swordfish.
it's
Password swordfish.
You can come check us out and maybe get some super glue down on some styrofoam. Don't use super glue, use white glue.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, let's talk about some games that we've been playing the last few weeks. So I've been continuing to rock the Castellans of the Imperium Detachment. These games that I'm going to talk about, I played against Orcs and I played against Mechanicum. They're both on our YouTube channel, so you guys can see those games live there. The game against the Orcs, I had to play against 3 Daka Jets and 2 of the Fight-A-Bombers.
And like the forgeable fighter bombers?
So no, the plastic.
Oh,
sorry,
the
I guess I don't know
the Blitz-A-Bomb.
Blitz bombers. Yeah.
They're cool, man.
They're
They have like armor bane and
yeah, they're
a bunch of stuff.
yeah, they're hilarious.
They're cool, and then you have to fight against 5 planes when you play Sisters and don't have any Skyfire in your entire codex.
Orc sisters are pretty evenly balanced.
Yeah, no, totally.
Just gotta roll those d6 for shots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Get that 6. And he actually used a big Stompa. Had the Forge World one.
It's a tough list.
It was pretty cool. Like he just a bunch of boys unloaded out of the Stompa and tried to come up at me, and I think I made pretty good work of them. And my Penitent Engines were definitely scaring a lot of his big stuff, which was really cool. But it ended up just being really fun. I actually at the end of it, he was super salty, like in the middle, because his Daka Jets all came on. And he's like, yeah, I get twin linked all this and extra shots because I called my WOG this turn or whatever. And then he just totally flopped them. I couldn't kill anything the turn he came on. And so I was getting really happy. I think we ended up with an exact. Actually, I won't ruin it. You guys can check out the. And then I played Mechanicum against Mike, and it was really fun. There was just this like big wall of terrain in the middle on our Mars table, and I just had to come over the top of it and fight a bunch of robots. Which ended up being really fun. I think I snuck by with like 3 or 4 extra points on top of him by the end.
Did you end up killing Call? Mike uses serious Call in his lists because he's a fun guy.
yeah. Celestine went up against Call. I forgot my orbital bombardment for the 4th game in a row. And no, I did not kill him. He's just an absolute beast. But I made a unit of Breachers run off the table first turn by killing one of them. And that was
Breachers have a habit of doing that.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So, Nick, what did you do this week?
Well, Connor and I actually played a game of Battlefleet Gothic a week or so ago. It was an interesting game. He basically just tore the gut out of my fleet really, really quickly due to some poor deployment choices on my end. Battlefleet Gothic is an amazingly fun game, but it's really showing its age in terms of rules and.
So me and Nick were playing the Battlefleet Revised.
Right, yeah, the living rule set.
It's living rules, and I can't remember what the website is.
It's like Specialist Games
Forum, yeah. So they have a living rule set, and they've really balanced all the fleets. They've got a bunch of really cool special ships, like right out of the fluff, like name ships and stuff for legions and all that. But yeah, Nick deployed bad and I crushed him.
Yeah. It basically came down to that. Yeah, you got a tough list though. And Imperials, like, they need to stick together, and my Chaos ships were just like, oh, well, we're by ourselves, we're screwed. And they died. I actually think when my one ship blew up, when you killed the one ship, it had like a warp core implosion.
Yeah.
It did more damage to your fleet than I did to your fleet the entire game.
Yeah, so when a ship blows up in Battlefleet Gothic, if you roll high enough on a 2d6, it explodes and does like lance damage to all ships around it. And
Lances are basically the last cannon of Battlefleet Gothic,
yeah,
right?
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It wounds everything on a 4, which is really good in that game. So he, I think, wounded like 4 of my ships from me killing his ship.
Yeah,
that was like the most damage you did all game.
Which is more than I did. So beyond Battlefleet Gothic, Paul Connor and I and our other friend Tristan, can we call him a friend now?
Not after that game.
Not after that game?
It was rough.
We played a doubles heresy apocalypse game. What did we do? Did we do 3,000 points aside?
We did 3,000 points a player.
3,000 points a player with Lords of War allowed. I brought my Emperor's Children. I brought my Falchion, which is the super heavy tank that has a twin-link volcano cannon on it. Awesome. You think, oh, volcano cannon, it's got a D-blast, it's kind of overpowered. Well, Tristan decided to bring Magnus, and I will let Paul tell you his feelings on that.
Oh my god. All right. So I it's so hard to talk about this.
Put your earmuffs on, kids.
Yeah. I'm going to show you on the Space Marine where Magnus touched.
And just so you know, in Adam's game that he was talking about versus Mike, you can check that out on Encounter Wargaming's YouTube channel. About halfway through the game, in the background, you can hear Paul yelling about what is about to happen during our game, which were happening simultaneously.
Yeah, like I wish I didn't always have to say that like I went crazy during a game on this podcast. But so Magnus shows up, he deep strikes in, and one of his abilities is he can like supercharge your psychic powers, like he ought to be able to do. He is like the second most powerful psyker in the entire universe in this setting. But if the strength goes above 10, it becomes D. He also doubles the range. Tristan is a garbage human and took the Nova power.
From Pyromancy.
From Pyromancy.
Sunburst, I think it was.
Whatever the Nova power is. So it doubles the range. So it ends up being a 40-inch bubble of D. So he just pops in. This happens. No one has psychic defense in 30k. Nope. So we're just taking. I took off a Sakaran, a Typhon, a squad of Terminators, like everything else that I spent a ton of time painting, and I think
I lost full Land Raider, full squad of Breachers. I'm pretty sure my Sakaran died too. It was just like our entire middle of our line was absolutely decimated.
I went to the bathroom during our team psychic phase because it was Tristan and I versus Connor and Paul, and I went to the bathroom and came back. Paul had a tank in both hands and a very, very, very angry look on his face, and Tristan was like a kid. I don't even know what kind of kid he was. He kept saying,
I just wanted to try it. I'm like, no, you own this. You own what you did, sir.
Yeah, so how many hits did he do?
That was top of 2. That was
top of 2. And
so the game was over.
There was basically a crater in the middle of a what did we do? We did like a 12 by 8 board.
Yeah, it was a huge board because we knew this was coming. And it still sucked.
Yeah. I think we added it up on the sideline because I came over to see what all the ruckus was about.
Everyone's just screaming.
Why I was going crazy.
We kind of power leveled it out, right? We didn't actually do exact points, but we just kind of went up and said, it's approximately, I think it was about 1,500 points.
Yeah, so
it's like 1 psychic power.
In one
quarter
psychic
of our list.
One power. 1 psychic power.
Oh, yeah, 1 psychic power.
Yeah.
That he harnesses on a 3-up and rerolls.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't suffer perils unless it's 3 6s.
And can ignore the first perils.
So like, and I'm sitting there with my twin link volcano going like, this may as well be Alaska.
Yeah, we were like, keep shooting at us, please.
Yeah.
just
no more Magnus.
Yeah, so that game was a wash.
The thing about Magnus too is like he has an ability where when you get him in combat, you have -1 to hit him, so and to shoot him actually in a bubble. So you have to get him into combat so that he can't cast his psychic powers at you, and then when you get him in combat, like every other Primarch, it's going to take a long time to kill him, but he's impossible to kill.
Yeah.
You got Ferris in on him, right?
Yeah, I think I did. But so Primarch's Havoc will not die. So I do 1 wound, and then 2 turns later we flub our attacks against each other, invulns and that, and then he gets his wound back. So like you're literally going to be there forever. Yeah. But we've already lost a quarter of our list, so.
Yeah. So everything else is just dying around you.
And I think at the end of the game, I was pissed off about Magnus personally. So this
is the best part of the whole game.
I fired the volcano cannon at Tristan's Spartan, which was right next to the combat where Magnus and Ferris were fighting, and I'm like, I really hope this scatters into that combat and kills Magnus. And it scattered into the combat. I don't think it killed Magnus. I think it killed Ferris.
It killed a couple of his Terminators, I think.
It killed a bunch of stuff, but it landed directly on Magnus, and I couldn't have been happier. Sorry, Tristan. You deserve every bit of hate you're getting.
Yeah.
right now.
Everyone cheered. It was great.
It was fun to shout "Gods can bleed." Like, do you have any other games that you need to talk about?
So I did Astro with these guys actually, and it was an awesome weekend. It was my first year going, and it was so much fun. I brought my Iron Hands as a 40k army, and I actually killed Call in my first game. I played Mike, and it ruined his whole tournament.
Oh yeah, you stole the win from him.
I was his only loss in the first game, and I think he came in 4th
He came
overall.
in 2nd overall.
Ooh.
You can't.
I have a really guilty smile right now.
Don't feel guilty. Please don't.
So yeah, I was playing the Cataphracti Terminator Captain with a Thunderhammer, and randomly took 2 wounds off him in my shooting phase. And Call's abilities at the start of the Mechanicum player's turn, he regens D3 wounds automatically every turn. You don't have to roll for it; you just get it back. So I got 2 wounds off him in my shooting phase somehow. Failed his 2-up and his rerollable Feel No Pain. And then I charged my captain in, did the last 3 wounds, and over 9 dice, Mike didn't make a single 5-up because he got 3 5-up invulns, 3 Feel No Pains, and 3 rerolled Feel No Pains. And I killed Call in 1 turn, and he was pretty sad.
You were.
But that was the best game of my whole weekend.
I know you were about 2 inches taller after that
Oh,
game.
yeah, it was great. I scored full points. I was just like, I'm sorry this had to happen to another club member, but it was really fun. It was, but I had a bunch of other great games that weekend. It was an awesome tournament.
Sweet. Paul, I think you're up.
Yeah, well, aside from the trauma bonding of seeing Magnus on the table, I also the campaign that Connor mentioned that we'll be doing this summer for 30K. I play tested one of the scenarios that Connor and a different Connor and Chaz are coming up with that, where there's an assassin on a clock tower essentially. And at the beginning of every player turn, you roll off to see who controls her, and she's just taking pot shots. And the points that you accumulate are from killing enemy characters. So it's really fun to just be like trying to gun down a sergeant, trying to position your fire raptor so you're actually picking off the apothecary as opposed to like a bunch of line dudes. It's an exceedingly cruel mission, and I really, really like that. My plasma vets that I mentioned a couple of episodes ago really shone for me. Also, shatter shells on your quad mortars. If you have dreadnought problems, check out shatter shells.
And Chaz uses a lot of dreadnoughts.
He does. I murked the Marigal dreadnought that he runs.
Just straight away.
First turn, he was like, check this out. I was like, brap.
This is a good life
New
choice.
painted syndrome, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
It's the new model syndrome. Don't brag about your good model before a game. Because Paul's going to kill it.
Rookie mistake.
Because I'm mean. But yeah, that was really fun to play test that. They were using the Vindicare assassin rules for it, but that was a little bit overpowered, so they toned it down a lot, and we realized that it was underpowered. So I think we're gonna Chaz and Connor are gonna bump her power level up a little bit.
Other Connor.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them.
He doesn't go by Connie either.
Yeah, none of them
I'm
go.
sorry. Okay. Let it go.
Give me one.
That's your one. You can have 2. But yeah, the game went well. Chaz's army functions really uniquely in 30K. It's an Alpha Legion army with a ton of dreadnoughts, and then the troops just pop up wherever. But a ton of fun to play, and always fun to play test campaigns.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what these guys come up with. It sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. They're so excited.
All the different tables affect the other tables depending on who wins or next missions and stuff.
Yes.
There's going to be a Zone Mortalis portion.
So instead of doing a typical 30K tournament, what we've kind of devised and we throw into other Connor and Chaz to build is more of a campaign in a day. So it's got some aspects of a tournament in it, but it's really going to be about 2 factions fighting for dominance over different war zones on a planet. So each table, like Connor was saying, different rules, different effects. And I think we're going to have some like dungeon master elements. So they're going to be walking around and being like, guess what? That's a card effects. I don't know. That could be funny.
Yeah.
And the Mega Arachnid just show up.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And so, speaking of which, it'll be interesting to see how the introduction of 8th edition will affect what's going to happen with this. So they have some life choices to make coming up. And so do we. So why don't we get on to our main topic where we can discuss some of these things. And so right before we jump into it, here's a quick word from our sponsors. These are people who love the hobby and want to enhance your gaming experience by either offering a product or a service. Check it out.
Hello. Do you like having fun more than winning games?
No, nobody likes that.
But I'm a better painter than I am a player.
Then Hogtown 40K is the club for you. This club is for people to meet and share ideas and promote all aspects of Warhammer 40K. We host hobby events, from building and painting evenings, low-pressure tournaments, and random pub nights. Look us up on Facebook, Hogtown 40K.
We're obnoxious about being bad at Warhammer.
Battle Brothers Studios, a commission painting service passionate about making your miniatures and your gaming table look great. Our philosophy at Battle Brothers is this: your army is our army. Every model will be something you can be proud to show off. Send us a message on facebook.com/BattleBrothersStudios for a free quote and make that dream project come to life. We also have something special planned for the release of 8th edition of 40K. Right now, get 20% off if you commission us to paint an 8th edition starter set, or get a 10% off Army Bundle bonus for painting up your new 8th edition 40K Army. Inquire with us on Facebook for full details.
All right, so moving on to our main topic for this episode. I'm going to be talking about some of the changes to weapons that are going on. I think these are some of the most exciting changes. Please ignore the construction noise in the background. I think we discussed in the first or second episode completely getting rid of templates now, which I think is huge.
Yeah. Makes me sad, but...
Salamander's successor.
Yeah, no more flamers, no more small blasts, no more large blasts. Maybe someone can answer this question. This is a question I've had. If you're firing one of these weapons at somebody, let's say a battle cannon, you're rolling the d6 to get the number of shots now instead of actually placing a blast marker down. Do those shots automatically hit, or do you still have to roll to hit with them?
No, only flamers auto hit.
Okay, so only flamers auto hit. So flamers, as we've discussed before, are d6 hits. I think they're -1 to your AP.
I don't know.
No, I think it's dash.
Yeah, it says
Have you seen heavy flamer profiles yet?
No,
No,
we
not
haven't.
yet.
not.
We're just getting information.
Yeah, we're
in
getting-
like dribs and drabs.
It is dribs and drabs, so bear with us because everything we could say could be wrong when the big rulebook comes out. I think one of the biggest things for me as well is the complete removal of bolters having any sort of AP value.
Yeah, that's...
Interesting thought, eh?
It is, it really is, because when you think about it, like, bolters just cut through Eldar, Guard, Orcs.
I like it.
Gene Stealer cult.
Steam Stealer Cult, yeah, we talked about that.
Because, like, when I think about, whatever, a tier list, Space Marines are higher than all of those armies.
Because of AP5.
So, yeah, I can have a tac squad kill 8 orcs in 1 round of shooting, easy. So, if you make 3 of those 6-up saves, somehow, keep those 3 guys, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
And
That's
they
true,
need it. Those
yeah.
armies need that, you know?
That's fair.
That
That's
is
fair.
very true, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
those
it's still
four-
6-up only. And if they're in cover, it's 5-up.
Yeah, like I agree with you there. It is nice to see a bolter kind of like adjusted. Like it is sad that you're not just like blowing the arms and legs off of guardsmen's like
It
left,
is
right.
still strength 4.
Yeah, so
It's respectable.
no, yeah. It's still the workhorse weapon of
You
the-
can still mow down cultists.
and I'm gonna.
Yeah. And Grots don't even have a save, so who cares about them?
Yeah. I mean, the changes to flamers I really like because if you're shooting that at a monstrous creature, say, it was always a bit of a damp squib. If you're just getting one hit from a template. But now if I'm like burning a Carnifex, I'm cackling and like arcing a jet of Promethean onto it, it's going to take a bunch of wounds that, the fire's crackling, it smells terrible. Like, that's a cinematic thing to me.
Yeah,
Two Scorpio.
two implications for no templates, right? Like, they get much better against single models.
Yeah.
They get kind of moderate against hordes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think I said this last time, I love jumping up with my unit of Seraphim with 2 hand flamers each and Celestine with her heavy flamer and just being like, that'll be 40 hits, right? But now it's like, it could only be 5 hits.
Yeah.
You could roll a 1, man. That feels
Exactly.
bad, and then not wound.
Exactly.
Yeah, oops.
A 1 feels bad, yeah.
Most of the time.
It is interesting. We saw this when they released the weapon profiles for the rapid fire battle cannon for the Knight.
Yeah.
I believe it was if the unit consists of 5 or more models, was it add D3 or roll 2D6, pick the highest?
It's 2D3, I think.
Okay, so instead of
So, yeah.
a single D3, it's
Because-
2D3.
So you're at least getting 2 hits, not
So
just
it
1.
it recognizes that when you're firing, a high explosive anti-tank shell into a crowded group of people in a room.
We don't endorse doing that.
That it ends up being better than a D6 too, because
Yeah.
your minimum is a 2.
Your minimum is a 2, yeah.
Your D&D is showing.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Min-max,
D&D,
baby.
Yeah. The multiple damage thing also comes into account here as well. We use the las cannon as an example. All of a sudden, las cannon, like, we talk about all these, like, knights and vehicles having all these wounds, and then you really think about it, and you're like,
Hull points.
no, they're wounds. They're not hull
I'll
points.
always
Connor.
call them hull points.
I know, we all will. But think about it. If you've got 5 las cannons and you're firing it into a knight, and just let's, for argument's sake, say all 5 hit,
Yeah.
you're looking between 5 and 30 wounds
Yeah, like
output, right? That could topple a land raider, a knight, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, case closed on this, the knight has 24 wounds.
So it is quite possible.
At least the errant. The errant knight has 24
Right.
wounds.
Right. So like Forge World ones might have more than that, but
Or even just not an errant knight.
Oh,
but
Yeah,
the-
like the free blades or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I do like that, and it gives a really visceral feel to heavy weapons, like, and it now makes a heavy weapon also good for shooting at monstrous creatures.
Yes.
Like
Like it never made sense to me that this missile,
Took 1 wound off a Carnifex.
and it does 1 wound to a space marine.
Yeah,
It's like, no, you're missing a leg now.
yeah,
Well,
like
there was a hole where your face used to be.
yeah, but it can like explode a land speeder. So
yeah. So like
Exactly.
if I'm shooting a last cannon at a greater demon, I want to see a big chunk come off that sucker. Like
So lesson learned of this is they're making it more realistic. Like, this is good work by Games Workshop. Yeah.
yeah,
And then now 3 of us in this room now own Fire Raptors.
woo, woo, woo.
So this next point I'm going to talk about has got me
the
extremely
last bastion
excited.
against the cheese.
How many drop pods in that list?
Yeah, how many drop pods do you run, Connor?
It's between 5 and some of them.
Yeah, too
Yeah,
many.
could you say it into the mic?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things too, which actually makes a lot of sense to me now, twin linked no longer means rerolls to hit. Instead, some of the weapons profiles that we've seen come out, I think it was, what was the one that we saw?
It was twin linked heavy bolters.
It was a twin linked heavy bolter. They just get double shots.
6 shots.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: bolters don't have an AP anymore, but twin-linked heavy bolters can kill 6 orcs instantly. You don't really need the AP on bolters because firepower is getting exceedingly better.
It's true, but back to my point about the Fire Raptors, sploosh. I'm thinking.
Don't let me interrupt.
It's blowing me away the potential for damage. Like you're talking like double shots. So Razorbacks, even Land Raiders with like Land Raider Crusaders with the Hurricane Bolt.
Yeah.
Sploosh again.
4 last cannon shots from a Land Raider.
Yeah.
I want my Sakaran turret to shoot 12 shots, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
No jinking. If
Beautiful.
jinking's a thing, we don't know. But like, just there, it's so many dice. Like,
It's a lot of dice. I think things are gonna die.
I like it, and
Very
that's like
quickly.
so. Back to no AP on bolters and stuff again. I love playing this game because I love rolling dice.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
let me shoot more shots. Let me take more armor saves. Let me interact with the game as much as possible.
Yeah.
We all love rerolls, but to be fair, rerolls do add a lot of time to the game.
Right.
It
Also,
really
have you
did.
ever fired a double barrel shotgun, like both barrels at the one time? You don't get more accurate. You just shoot more stuff. More stuff comes out of the front of the gun that you point at things that you want to go away. So it's just like, yeah, obviously you're not going to get more accurate.
You're saying that I don't become a sniper if I duct tape 2 sniper rifles together and fire it in someone's general direction?
Quantity is its own quality.
I've actually never fired a double barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
Ever.
Just stop the recording. We get
We gotta go do that right now.
Back to Connor's point, quoting Joseph Stalin is never a good way to start something. But he's absolutely right.
Adam, would you please activate dad mode and get us back on track?
Right.
So, I think-
Twin linked
I think we're-
weapons. I got it. I can do this myself, Adam. I'm a big boy. Twin linked, fantastic. Main things that come to me are Chaos with their combi bolters.
Terminators.
The Chaos Terminators, well, just combi bolters in general. All of a sudden, if you're within 12 inches of a Chaos Rhino, it's putting 4 bolter shots into you.
Yeah.
Now, I think this is going to require some very, very serious points evaluation and recosting. Because back to the Fire Raptor example, all of a sudden you're putting out 14 strength 6,
AP3.
probably minus 2 AP shots instead of 7 twin linked. Maybe that's going to have to cost what the Fire Raptor should have cost in the first place, which is somewhere around 300 points.
But that's if Forge will just straight up doubles everything. Like
Right.
you don't know if they're going to change.
Yeah,
that.
They might change the weapon profiles
Yeah.
because a lot of the Forge World weapons are very, very specific to the units that they belong to.
Yeah.
The Avenger Mega Bolter, which is the one in the Fire Raptor, I think only exists. Hi, Blakely. It only exists on the Fire Raptor and the.
There's a guard tank that has it, isn't it?
No,
It has the Titan.
It's another.
Titan one.
It's another flyer.
It's so sick.
It's another flyer. The Sisters of Battle use it.
No.
Avenger Strike Fighter. It has a single Avenger Bolt Cannon.
This is my thought too. Is when you have when you're hitting on 2s and you're twin linked, you're gonna, let's say you got 6 shots, you're missing 1,
Yeah.
so you re-roll the 1.
Sometimes it doesn't even matter, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hit with all of them.
Yeah.
But with twice as many shots,
Still
there's
hitting on 2s.
way more damage output, right?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't need a reroll.
No, you
You'd
don't.
rather hit on 2s and have twice as many shots.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Quite literally, that is a 100% increase. You're right.
Math.
Yeah, that's true. So twin linked, gonna
Gonna
be
be enough beer yet.
gonna be awesome. Looking forward to seeing how they rebalance some of the points. The other one that I know has our friend Connor, the Hair Collie, I said it right this time. Really excited is the changes to combi weapons. Connor, tell us your thoughts on combi weapons in 8th edition.
It's pretty cool. So like, when you shoot a combi weapon, it's not one use anymore. I think that's the biggest change.
Amazing in and of itself.
That is
That's
the biggest
amazing.
change. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So like that's gonna be recosted for sure. They're no longer gonna be 10 points for everything. There's no
10
way.
points is still a lot.
But I mean, like a plasma
It's
is 15 points. So a combi plasma, if it was 20, I wouldn't be surprised. But so, and all the loadouts are so different now. It's really cool. So
Yeah.
if you shoot just either part of your combi, you're still hitting on your normal ballistic skill. And if you shoot both, you can shoot both at the same time now, which is awesome. But you shoot both of the shots with -1 ballistic skill. So combi flamers, you can rapid fire your bolter and just do D6 auto hits because
Oh,
the
I-
negative ballistic skill
I
doesn't
didn't
matter.
I did not think about that.
Yeah.
You can just
that is awesome.
destroy hordes, which is so cool. And so I play Salamanders, so I run Sternguard with Combi Meltas and Vulcan for all the rerolls and stuff. So I'm like really excited to see what Vulcan brings in his rules, because if I can like double tap my Combi Meltas for 2 Melta shots per guy, that's so wicked.
And like just the image of a guy being like, let's rock and roll, and
Yeah.
both barrels at dudes. It's
We've all seen Alien.
yeah, and we all love it.
Literally duct tape 2 guns together.
2 different guns.
Yeah.
Not the same gun, so it didn't
Like a
increase
combi
accuracy. But back to Connor's point about building an army, like especially around a character. the changes to how armies are built are going to be completely different. Adam's going to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so battle forging your army. This is a term that we've heard in 7th. Connor was celebrating Nick's segue. I thought it was brilliant. Battleforge is a term we've heard before, and it is pretty much staying consistent with what it means. It means you're taking an army with a certain amount of limitations. You have to fit inside of a chart. But this is a big part of it, is they've announced so far that there are no formations that would make your army battleforged. You have to fit into a certain type of detachment that they've announced, and we'll get to it in a second.
I am so happy that there's no more formations.
Amen, brother.
As someone who's fought against the War Convocation and the Gladiator Strike Force,
Yep.
I get it. I get that it added some fluffy stuff, and then it just got taken way too far.
Some of it was insane.
Let's play an 1850 point game. I can bring 2,500 points. You can bring 1850. You're like, okay.
The Skyhammer Annihilation Force, where it's like, I've got these great units. They're going to be twice as good on the first turn.
I get to decide when they come in. They auto come in. They don't count towards my pods. It's like insane.
It seems like those are holdovers from an older time in 40K where no one realized that you had to play another person.
Yes.
Like no one realized
This is cool.
Yeah, like no one realized that like this is a 2-player game. I am sitting down, I'm spending 2 hours with you. I have to like you. Or at least not want to bite your face. And
I think the problem with that is like, you get some armies like Space Marines and Necrons and Mechanicum. They get amazing formations that are so good and so powerful, and it's filled with stuff that you already want to take. And then you have Orc formations where it's like,
Or Sisters of Battle.
like, do you guys have any?
No.
Zero.
Zero.
Just all CAD all the time.
All CAD.
Which is fine. I play only CADs too.
Like
but
the Green Tide's a great example. Like, the Green Tide's awesome. Okay, you have 10 units of 10 orcs combined into one unit. That counts as 10 units for kill points. And if you lose one model, you can be run off the board.
yeah, so it's like, why would I even take this? How is it
why
helping me?
wouldn't I just take 100 orcs?
Exactly. Back to the Battleforge stuff. I do have a question for you guys. I don't know. Is Unbound gone? Has anyone seen any mention of Unbound?
Not yet.
I hope we don't.
I think on the official Warhammer community front, there is no such thing as Unbound right now. There is the 3 ways to play, right? So open, narrative, and what do they call it? Matched play.
Yeah.
So open might be closer to Unbound.
I think we're gonna talk about it after,
Yeah.
but the
back-
power levels will be like the pickup Unbound game. Like, just bring what you want and add it up.
True, but I do still think that when you're building an army, it still has to fit into what we're jumping ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
a
and
little
we
bit. Adam,
don't know.
Adam, take it away.
All right, so no formations. We're all happy about that. I think that's been decided. There will be some cool ways that I think they expand the types of ways you can build your army in the future. They've definitely future-proofed that. They can release different detachments as long as they keep them generic so that all different types of armies can use them. I think it would be really fair that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like to go back to formations, not to belabor the point, there are some formations I will be sad to see go because there were ones that like were really kind of fluffy. Like
There
you
were some
frequently-
that were definitely well thought out.
yeah,
very
like
fluffy.
The
and a lot of
first
fun.
company task force I really liked from the Space Marine book.
Yeah.
Like the Necron book has a lot of cool ones, like the one where you can take like 3 Dune sides. That's just cool. Like I want to do that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, there is a best one, so everybody takes the best one.
Yeah.
Everyone takes the Decurion
Well, this is what I like.
with the canoptic form thing.
I think the overarching thing we can say about 8th edition is everything has a use now. Like there's no, you don't look through your book being like this unit sucks. No one's ever gonna take that. Like
Why would I take tactical marines when I can take scouts?
yeah, or like why would I take flayed ones when I can take wraiths? Like if we're gonna
Clear difference, right?
yeah.
And also like Librarius Conclave to have
Oh, no.
to have a formation that's so
No.
small, right? That's so powerful. and have other ones that are. It takes your whole army to fill it.
They nerfed it in the FAQ, if that matters.
It does.
Only one guy can cast 2 spells on a 2-up.
Yeah.
So it's not that great.
Invisibility.
Fuck yeah. But they're getting rid of it, so I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe. So here we go. Battlefield roles. This is the one big one. What I mean when I say battlefield roles is some units count as troops, some are elites, fast attack, HQ, all that. So if you've been into 40k for at least 5 minutes, you'll understand all of that. Flyers now have their own battlefield role.
Yeah, and
I'm very excited to see how this works.
And no one's freaking out about that. I felt like when I saw that was the one that was going to be the sky is falling change, and everyone's like, yeah, this seems cool.
just fell through the cracks.
Yeah, like everyone just seems like, this is okay.
Those new Marines have AP on their bolters.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're like, Storm Talon has its own force organization slot. Like,
It makes so much more sense.
It does. So what I think this is good for is fast attack units shouldn't compete with your flyers.
No.
Heavy support shouldn't compete with your flyers. They really are their own battlefield role.
Yeah.
yeah, I was going to disagree, but then I thought about it, and
I think it's cool if they keep if they keep some of the death from the sky stuff where like certain flyers are way better at fighting ground targets. I like that.
I was very worried you were going to say dogfight phase for a second, and we were going to throw you.
I
out.
played against your Hellblade, man. I hate the dogfight phase. It's so
Everybody
do
hates
you
dog.
mean rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, so the best analogy I've heard is Nick being like, we're going to play rock, paper, scissors, but I get to use 2 hands. Like, oh, okay. So I guess I
and
lose.
then pick which one I want to use.
Yeah,
after
after you see mine.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
okay.
it's not fun. I did not like Death
But no,
Race,
like
guys.
if there's like a force organization chart with 3 flyer slots, and you take 2 that are good at shooting ground and 1 as an anti-flyer, that's cool and keeps the slots fluid and dynamic and whatever. Like
Yeah.
everything's better at doing different things.
As a guy who plays Imperial Fist, I am happy to see the Fire Raptor move into its own thing, so I can take more heavy support.
More Land Raiders.
More Land Raiders.
All right, so here, this is cool to move on to. So far, from what I've seen, it seems like when you choose a detachment, all the units in that detachment must share the same faction keyword. Let's talk about that.
So, for an example, just throw this out here. I'm going to bring this up later when we talk about data slates. I'm looking at the recently released Hellforged Leviathan Dreadnought. Yeah, for Chaos.
Take my money.
Yeah,
So
I'm taking this thing to prom.
So there's 2 types of keywords. We have faction keywords and we have keywords. So under the Hellforged Leviathan Dreadnought's faction keywords, this makes me so excited, by the way. As a Chaos player, just what I'm about to say. So we have faction keywords Chaos, brackets, Mark of Chaos, which means vehicles are going to have marks of Chaos. We don't know what they do yet, but Connor has an idea of what this could
They
lead
said
to.
what they do, didn't they? In the Chaos article? Like first day.
So I think Nurgle gets
It
like
still gives +1 toughness.
+1 toughness, or
So
it might be
toughness
like
9 dreads.
that disgusting resilience rule that we've
Oh,
heard
yeah,
about
yeah.
as well, where it can just shrug off wounds.
Dumb.
And then Heretic
Toughness 9 dreads.
Astartes, and then closed brackets Legion. So I think we're going to see a bigger shift for a Chaos player to more Legion specific stuff.
Well, it also might be the sort of case that there's Legion Chaos Marines and maybe Renegade Chaos Marines.
That's true.
Like,
I think it's like you're mixing both. So like I'm playing Night Lords and they're quote unquote undivided. So I can have jump guys that are Night Lords and they can have Mark of Nurgle and they're not Death Guard.
Maybe.
Cool.
We
It
will
like
see.
gives it you get multiple rules from different sources.
That's an
And-
interesting
yeah.
thought. What my initial thought was they would make them slot into kind of a similar way that the Space Marines work now with chapter tactics.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was my initial thought.
Like that's the Legion rule.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then they can all still take marks.
Yeah. So maybe
of
this
worshiping
shows my
gods.
lack of understanding of what's going on in the realm of chaos.
Too
But
much faith.
Yeah. But for keywords, it's interesting. Aside from faction keywords, vehicle is still a keyword, which leads me to believe that there will be certain weapons. I'm thinking Haywire specifically.
Yeah,
that's-
craft guns.
Grav guns that still interact with vehicles differently than they do with other unit
Infantry.
types.
Yeah.
There's also another keyword on this data slate is Dreadnought. Cool.
Yeah. So
Don't know
like,
where that's going
Is
to
it
go.
vehicle and dreadnought?
It says keywords: vehicle, dreadnought, Hellforged, Leviathan, dreadnought.
Just give me the rules.
all
Yeah.
dreadnoughts are vehicles, but not all vehicles are dreadnoughts.
That is
Yeah.
true.
So that might get down to like exactly when you're choosing certain unit selections in armies, and maybe some specials that come out in the future, how you can the amount of unit types you can select or something like that.
Yeah.
But as far as your army on a whole, I'm just excited that everything's going to be one faction keyword.
Yeah.
Because it's going to cut down on and we talked about this last time.
Allies,
The,
Death Stars.
Death Stars.
formations, allies. I liked allies. They were done poorly.
Yeah, but you know what? It's about time that they get a target on their back about the size of a womp rat. We're done with
2 meters?
It's a big womp rat.
I can hit it from my T16.
good.
That's the joke.
But yeah, like I'm really happy to see like Death Star units go away. It's just dumb. It hurts my fluff
Yeah.
bone. It
Well,
Yeah, so the faction makes it so you can't break the game, essentially.
hopefully.
Hopefully.
yeah.
But so because my chaos list was Nurgle Space Marines with Nurgle Demon allies. And
That's
I'm running
fine.
like a Great Unclean one and
That-
just like fun
yeah.
stuff. Deep striking demons coming in with the rhinos rushing up.
And see,
which
they
is
got
cool.
they got chaos right when they said demons can't join other units, and you're like,
Right. So you-
perfect, fluffy, makes sense. I'm not gonna fight with some zombie demon pustule covered guy as my leader.
I mean, if you look the same, I don't know why not, but
I don't know.
everybody's just farting on everybody.
That's what the cloud of contagion is.
But yeah, so but like demons had their own keyword, and they were the only ones in 7th. So splitting that to everybody allows all of those allied factions to be a little more balanced, which is great.
But yeah, that is a very good point for sure.
Cool. So here, how about I tell you guys some of the Battleforged options, the detachments. So the first one, I'll lay them all out and then we'll talk about them. So patrol, you have to choose a single HQ choice and a single troops. And you get no overall bonus. So remember the old formations? It gave you an army-wide bonus for that formation kind of thing. There's a similar dynamic going on here. A battalion is kind of familiar to the combined, what do we call it?
CAD.
Combined Arms Detachment. So a battalion is like a combined arms detachment, except now it's 2 HQ, 3 troops, and your bonus for doing that is you get a bonus 3 command points, which we'll talk more in depth about, I think, next episode.
Yeah,
but
it's on there.
command points are kind of a big deal. Lastly, there's the brigade. Okay, so you need to take 3 HQs, 6 troops. This is a full-on chart right here. 3 elites, 3 fast attack, and 3 heavy support. But your bonus is huge. It's 9 command points.
Yeah, so it's awesome to like think about what the points are going to be like in match play because, like Games Workshop has said, if you have formations, you can play all of those formations still. So if someone's running the Demi Company,
Gladius
Strike Force, they have 6 troops, they have a dreadnought, and all the auxiliary formations. So they should be able to fill that and still get 9 extra command points. So like it's still a good list. You still get a huge bonus. You still get your cheesy list.
But you're paying for your
Have
transport
fun.
at this point, right?
True.
Which is good because now it's like, as opposed to being able to squish that Demi Company by totally minning it out
Min-maxing, yeah.
in 1850, whatever it is, now it's at least going to be minimum 2,000, 2,300 because you have to pay for those things.
I think we're gonna start seeing bigger games too. Like
Well, that's what they were saying. They were saying a 2,000 point game, which is a big game, and like 7th edition is going to take an hour and a half to 2 hours.
yeah.
And right now, when we play, like when we do tournaments, a 1,500 point game is usually slotted at an hour and a half to 2 hours to finish in a tournament,
Yeah.
which is fast paced.
Yeah, and like I like this idea. I like bigger armies. It does, like, you know, every edition points go down, so like if you want to keep playing 2,500, you got to paint a few more things here and there. Subtle, like, way to make money, conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat. But you know, like I do think we're gonna just start seeing bigger games because of this, and like that battalion force org is kind of a statement of intent, maybe in that direction.
Yeah. Well, I just remember, I think it was our friend Jason posted a picture a couple months ago of what a 2,000 point army looked like in 3rd edition. And it was like 1 Predator, 2 tactical squads, a Terminator squad, an assault squad, and a captain.
Where now I'm like, I can run 7 pods and a knight. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how many different detachments are we up to now? I have seen...
So this is 3. I think they've officially announced there's 14. I don't know if they've officially declared what all 14 of those look like.
No, they haven't. I know
I
that.
think they've only given the 3.
Okay.
Now, is there going to be the possibility of any faction-specific ones, or is it going to be shared across all factions?
I think it's faction-specific command benefits, and all the like CADs, different CADs are for everyone. All 14 anyone can use.
Yeah, that was my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, the detachments are generic to everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have not heard about unique command point usage.
Because I think I read that somewhere.
Where did that one come out?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They all blend into one, man. I'm so
Yeah.
excited every
This
morning
is how
to read
rumors
about my
start.
work.
10 a.m. every morning, guys.
Yeah.
10:04. I checked Facebook and
I feel like I read that somewhere because I know, like, depending on the mission, sometimes there's different ones that you're able to tap into. So
Yes,
I think maybe
for the
based
narrative,
on your
for the narrative play.
yeah. So I think I thought, don't quote me, that based on your faction you would have a couple that like only Space Marines could use or like only Sisters could use. Maybe you can like reroll a faith test or something.
we're recording, so you've been quoted.
If that's wrong, it's his fault.
Yeah.
And we'll never
Take
bring a
full
special guest
responsibility.
ever again.
I just ruined it for everybody.
No. Sweet. So, guys, that's Battleforge. That's attachments. We've done a good little bit of conversation about that. Paul, walk us through data sheets, different unit profiles, and all the fun that goes along with that.
I mean, data sheets are... So the entire time I've been playing 40K, my biggest complaint with the 40K books is essentially an editorial one where nothing made sense. Like, from an organizational standpoint, you would be like, all right, I'm going to look at my unit profile. Oh, I need to look up my gun. Oh, I need to look up my special rule. Oh, it's in a different book. That's dumb. That is a stupid way to do things. If you've ever tried to do it, you know that it bogs you down. Data sheets, it's just in one spot. Like, it's one of these things that just makes sense. So, like, the battlefield role, the power level, the stat line, war gear options, unit abilities, and keywords all in one place. Like, my eyes are tearing up.
Well, it's hilarious because I actually have not really checked out Battlescribe lately. We use Battlescribe as a list builder app. I fired it up the other day and I realized that's exactly what a data sheet is.
Yeah.
Is just what Battlescribe does. It says everything about your unit, what they're armed with, what their special rules are.
I don't even bring my codex to the shop anymore. I
No.
just have everything on my phone.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so much better.
Battlescribe makes it easy.
Well,
If Games Workshop releases stuff on a phone app, I would spend $10 on that.
Yeah.
100%.
hell,
Even $10 a month.
No.
no, get out of here.
That is ridiculous.
But, like, no,
I can spend that on models.
I bought both of the Battlescribe versions because
Yeah, me
it's
too.
a really good app. And
It is. Well, not anymore.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
see. We love you, Battlescribe.
Get on your 30K stuff and reprogram it. It's terrible.
Well, it's user generated. So, anyways, but yeah, like the just having the unit abilities on the sheet, I really think allows you to customize those abilities.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, seeing like Khorne Berserkers have the same special rules as like some Space Wolf nonsense, as some Khorne Demon garbage.
Yeah, no, it's-
Like, it just doesn't. My Space Marine player is showing. It just doesn't make sense to like have generic special rules. And if you're doing a data sheet, it's all condensed and collated in one spot. That's a great resource as a player.
Yeah, my big thought around that is I don't want to have to check the main rulebook for what that special rule is. I don't want to have to go through the full color glossy picture section to go from what this unit does to what this unit costs and all their upgrade costs as well. Like what? Like I'm flipping past 80 pages to get from one part to the other and checking another book just to see what one unit does.
That was the most infuriating part. Like, this unit can pick weapons from the ranged weapons war gear, and you're like, what pages that again?
Yeah.
20 pages this
What?
way and then come back.
Yeah, it's like
It's
a
like a-
choose your own adventure.
A
now.
terrible choose
Choose your own misery.
Because it
But-
actually doesn't tell you what page to go to.
No.
And it's different in every codex. Is it at the back of the book? Is it at the front of the book?
Again, editorial nightmare.
Yeah.
The
and-
ebooks were even worse.
And this kind of leads to my next point is that this is going to allow like Games Workshop to have a very sort of liquid response time, a very dynamic response time to
Right.
points rebalancing. I think Nick has a better handle on how that's going to work than I do.
Right. So I think from what I've heard, so if we look at, again, the only one I have up right now is the Hell-Forged Chaos Leviathan, so excuse me and pardon me for constantly referring back to it.
It's his favorite thing right now.
I'm so excited about it.
So I'm hugging it.
I want to get one, but I kind of don't because everyone else has one. So the data sheet itself is going to have the power level, which Connor's going to talk about later, but the main books itself are going to have the points cost. It's kind of separate from the data slate, so it's going to be. You can still build an army just straight off data slates, but I think it's a good compromise between a new way of doing things while still harkening back to the classic way of building an army.
And like speaking to the fluidness of changing rules or being able to change rules and change points, having all of those points separate allows them to keep the data sheets the same. And if something's really good, like those Combi Flamers, you can up it to 15 points and there's add that little note in, and it's good for everybody. You don't have to change a bunch of different codexes.
Yeah, and it's also going to stop like Blood Angels having
Codices.
ballistic skill 3 scouts, but Space Marines having ballistic skill 4 scouts.
Right.
And the biggest thing is FAQs, because all of a sudden, hey, this data slate's new. We added a sentence at the end, except when this happens,
Yep.
right? Like a simple like, this works, but not in this
I mean,
circumstance.
I remember in Old White Dwarves just them being like, all right, here's an errata, cut this out, just paste it in your codex. Like, that was just, that's an intern being like, I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah.
Just have them cut it out and glue it in. I don't care. I don't care.
It's and like some people don't buy White Dwarf, and it's the same now. Some people don't. I follow forums all the time because I'm a big nerd.
we all do.
Everybody does, but like some people don't. So like you don't know if facts come out.
I actually don't look at forums.
Filthy
better
casual.
off. You're better off. But you've seen the FAQs that Games Workshop's released.
Yes.
And there's some huge ones in there, but if you're just a person who like comes down to play every month and you're playing against somebody like one of us and we're like, you can't do that, that's not fun.
No.
Especially when it's like, I'm looking at my codex and it's like,
I can't.
but it says I can do
I
it.
can't do that.
Yeah.
But it's
It's,
also,
it's in the cloud, I swear.
Some weird place that I read last month that they just released, and it's only if you follow this link and that link and whatever.
Yeah,
It's all in Black Library instead of on the main site.
but it's also like really, that's a bad position to be in when someone's like playing their army, not wrong, but old.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, we don't all have time machines. Like, just
And to be fair, Games Workshop has not been the worst for this compared to other miniature games. Like, I don't know if you guys play other miniature games, but they're all right with it compared to most.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super pumped about data sheets just to have like your war gear options, your weapon profiles on the unit that you're looking at. Like it's gonna save so much time. Like an actual game runs smoother.
Yeah.
And I've said this before in previous episodes, and I'm going to say it again. It is going to add such a great, unique flavor to each individual unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say earlier actually. So like all the special rules that you have to flip to the back of the main rulebook for, some of them are so similar,
Yeah.
but they have different names.
Like what's
Or
the difference
it's like
between
Terminators have all of the rules for slow and purposeful, but it's not,
Not
slow
slow
and
and
purposeful.
purposeful.
It's something
Right.
different that they can
Yeah.
run. That's
Yeah.
the only difference. So like giving your corn guys like blood for the blood skulls, and then giving the same rule to the Space Wolf guys but calling something different. It's all in the data sheet, so it doesn't matter what you call it, and you
Yeah.
can give it your silly sci-fi Games Workshop name.
Yeah,
so
it could
whatever.
be the Frost Rage Run
Yeah.
Wolf.
Perfect.
Wolf, ice, snow, blizzard, werewolf.
There are
Give
no
that man a
rules.
promotion.
So speaking
There
of
are
all
no-
this,
sorry,
we've
there-
seen the
there are
data
no
sheet.
rules.
We've and this directly correlates to certain unit profiles that have been released. So why don't we talk about some of the cool units? We know their stats and all this. Let's talk about how cool they are.
The coolest thing I want to say, and it's kind of across everything, is vehicles can now attack things.
I love that.
Oh man, that
Like
was so
when
good.
was it the Rhino they released?
Yeah.
It was the Rhino. And
Oh no,
It was the
Star Weaver or something.
Oh, the Star Weaver. It was.
Yeah.
It hits on 6s in combat. And I'm just picturing a drop pod just rapidly flapping its doors and squashing
No, but
people.
I like that a Rhino can actually be its like supporting vehicle role for the tax buff that's in it.
Yeah, charge.
yeah.
It just like starts mowing dudes down while they run in beside it. Like, that's
Get
so
them,
sick.
boys, and
Yeah,
the Rhino
love it.
just guns it.
So we don't actually have that many data slates. I was looking it up. We have the Thousand Suns. That was the first one that was released.
Yeah.
That was the first full one. And the only other full one we have is the Hellforged Chaos
Yeah.
Leviathan Dreadnought. for the
Everything's
eighth
kind of
time.
in little lines of things. I
Right.
guess the night we had
We had
most
the
of the
stat
stats.
line.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
like
I guess
how it
that's
degrades
what I
and-
meant is we have a lot of stat lines now.
We have a
Yeah,
lot
So
of-
we
yeah.
can look at those.
But I love that a tank can just crush a guy.
Dude, I'm gonna keep throwing it back to Land Raiders. Like I want to run stuff over with my Land Raiders.
I want to punch a dude in the mouth with a land.
So those tanks, to be specific to their profile, they have a toughness,
Yep.
which we touched on briefly.
Yep.
They have a strength. They have an attacks characteristic. They have a weapon skill characteristic.
Yeah.
That's all new.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
wild.
it's weird because vehicles have always had a weapon skill characteristics, but harkening back to the
Well, it's
whole
been-
point
It's
about
always
the
been
problems,
0 or 1.
it's one.
Yeah.
It's always one. But to find that out, you have to like dig through 80 pages of rules and be like, vehicles are always assumed to have a weapon skill of 1.
So just write it down.
Just write it down on the
Write-
unit
write it
profile.
So actually, we saw another vehicle profile and it was a 6, but the Star Weaver hits stuff on 3s.
Oh, it's the barge for Necrons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's in the Star Weaver guy's like in a skimmer, just like flinging around with his blade wings and like slicing guys on 3s. That's cool.
Blackwings, new band name.
I'll tell my boys. Yeah, and then like the Necron.
It's clunky and robotic and
Yeah.
hits guys on 5s or whatever.
But like just think about how that's gonna look. Just like mash.
Even the descriptor in the article is so great, where it's like crushing people under treads or like pushing them into the ground under your grav drive. Like, that is so wicked, man. I love that imagery.
I just picture
Just getting crushed into dirt.
just picture the steamroller from the first Austin Powers movie.
You're gonna get there eventually, right?
You're gonna get there eventually.
I'm so mad that you were able to squeeze an Austin Powers reference into this episode.
Oh, it just came to me suddenly. Honestly, my favorite special rule that I've seen so far that goes with the data slate is the Machina, not machine, or Machina.
I would say.
It's Machina.
Machina Malefica. There's no soft C's in Latin, which is the special rule for the Leviathan Dreadnought. Again, we don't have that much to draw from, Paul. Paul's giving me side eye. But this is just really cool. And again, adds some flavor to a unit because this is not going to be available to Loyalist Dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
So it's essentially at the end of any turn in which a unit with this ability has slain any models in the fight phase other than through Overwatch attacks, roll a number of d6 equal to the number of models it has slain. Each of these dice that scores a result of 5+ heals 1 wound on this unit.
That is
That's
hilarious.
insane.
So you're charging Leviathan Dreadnought in. You're killing 3 guys. You get 2 wounds done back to you. You roll 2d6. You roll 2 5s. Come at me.
Yeah, just
Didn't even hurt.
what makes a Leviathan great?
Just
Blood
cool,
for the blood god.
just cool stuff like that. Like I just see that, and we've seen it with the Thousand Suns one.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the All Is Dust special rule, and a few other ones as well, where it's just going to be very, very unique special rules within the data slate.
Yeah, I'm just so stoked for like how flavorful every unit can be now. I'm over the moon, man.
So I don't know how good we were at controlling ourselves in the first 2 episodes, but I don't know if we've announced yet that Terminators have 2 wounds.
Yeah, that is huge.
It's amazing.
I love
Yeah.
it.
And then we were talking earlier, Connor, you're an Orcs guy.
Yep.
We were talking about Mega Knobs.
Yeah, man. 3 wounds. They're so beefy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We haven't seen the profiles for them, but they're toughness 5 in 7th edition, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are they? I think they're only toughness 4.
I
You
have no
You
idea.
have to kill them with las cannons and stuff.
Here's another thing. I don't think instant death is around anymore.
No.
Yeah, it might be
I
like
agree.
a mortal wound. We don't know. Like
Yeah.
that's just spit on.
Either way, the 3 wound knobs are awesome, and with the way that AP works now, if a las cannon hits it,
It's
it's still going to get a 5-up or whatever.
Because they don't have an invuln.
They don't have an invuln.
They've never had a
Previously.
Previously. So, and that would instant death them.
Yeah.
So if the las cannon gets through, you could roll a 3 and kill it in one shot. But if you roll bad on your d6 damage, that knob's still coming at you.
Again,
with strength 10 power clause.
I think with the variable damage, like the d6 roll damage, I think we're seeing an end to instant death. Because we saw force weapons, we talked about that in an earlier episode as well.
Yeah, it does
It's just
mortal
it's D3 wounds. So if you push a
smite.
No, force weapons.
are
Force
D-
weapons?
Force
one-
weapons
I
are
think it's
D3.
1d3
Yeah.
damage.
If you push a wound through somebody's armor, they take D3.
Nice.
So I think instant death is gone.
Yeah, it's like
Which makes sense to me now because, again, back to Leviathan Dreadnought. Sorry, guys. Strength
60.
and all characteristics are no longer capped at 10. So on the weapon profile for the Dreadnought, its siege claws are strength times 2. Its strength is 8, which means it has a strength value of 16.
which is awesome.
Which is awesome, which means we talked about that as well with the way that strength versus toughness interacts now. You have to double somebody to wound on 2.
But you can easily double somebody.
If
now.
you're strength 16,
Yeah.
It's cool though, because like I love Land Raiders, man. So you do, it's like if a Land Raider's toughness at least 9,
yeah,
the Dreadnought is only going to hurt it on a 3.
right, instead of a 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
that
cool because
makes
it's a beefy Land Raider, right?
And then does 4 wounds to it.
So let's compare it to right now. A Leviathan walks in, it's strength 10.
With Armor Bane.
Mhm.
You should have
If
Armor Bane.
if you take the claw, it is
Yeah.
5 points.
The drill.
The drill, sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
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 So that's 4
So yeah,
on 2d6. If you don't take it, which I've actually seen Leviathans run around with that.
but I think even the claws AP1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like your chance of blowing it up is pretty good.
Yeah, it
And you
is
have
pretty good.
33% chance.
You're hitting it on
4 attacks on the
You're
charge.
hitting it on 3s. 5 attacks on the charge now.
Mm-hmm.
You're hitting it on 3s. So on 5 attacks, you're maybe hitting 3.
Well, it's different now. You don't get +1 attack for charging. I don't think they've never said that yet.
Oh, that's a very good point.
You get to shoot your pistols in combat. I feel like that makes up the extra attack, I guess.
That actually
for something.
popped out something else in my brain that I just want to briefly discuss is chainswords.
They get +1 attack.
But I see a downside.
What's that?
You don't get the bonus for a pistol and a close combat weapon anymore.
That also doesn't exist though. We don't know that.
Right. So if you're not getting the bonus, this is the way to get your +1 attack.
It's actually not true, Nick, because you get to shoot your pistol.
Yeah.
That's an attack. You
Right.
couldn't have done that before.
Right,
And
right,
now
right.
you get 2 attacks with your chainsaw.
Right. So it's different. I guess you are.
So
I guess you
now-
are getting
It,
the extra
it
attack.
actually works out being better because you shoot your pistol in your shooting phase, and then
Oh,
and then
right.
in the combat phase you have to choose to activate your guys to go first. So if you kill a bunch of their guys in your shooting phase in the combat you're in, and then activate your squad first, you can just straight up kill them before they can retaliate at all.
So you can.
Yeah,
But the
if
same
you-
thing can happen to you, and if they have pistols on their side.
So if we have 2 squads engaged in combat and it's my shooting phase, I can
You
shoot
can-
you with pistols?
Yep. Because you can.
Why am I just hearing this now?
It was in like the 3rd, 4th article.
I never made the connection. That's fantastic.
So you if you're 1 inch away from an enemy, you can't shoot any weapons
Except for your pistol.
except for your pistols.
Right.
Right.
And-
Like John Wick.
Yes, exactly. Gun kata. So if you're in combat, you can still shoot your pistols, and you're within an inch. You're in combat, so you can shoot them in the shooting phase.
Pop, pop, pop.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, it was very nice to have you here for that that revelation in itself for
Yeah.
Nick.
Read those forums, man.
I can't, man.
So actually, why don't we backtrack a little bit? We talked about weapons before, and we missed these altogether. So we just did chainsword.
Yeah.
Kind of standard as to what it is now, but with the +1 attack.
It can.
Here's the power axe.
Oh, okay.
+1 strength, AP -2.
Connor's got a whole rant about forums on this one too.
Honestly, it all like the axe.
I just read them, man. I don't do the nerd math.
I
Yeah,
know.
the axe is always going to be the best.
No, the sword.
Here's the power maul. +2 strength, AP -1. So if you're a space marine, you go from strength 4 to strength 6.
Yeah.
So you wound guardsmen on
2s.
2s instead of 3s.
And they get a 6-up save.
And they get they would get
Well,
they would get no save if you had a power axe. They would get the 6-up if you had the -1.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think
Interesting
they.
thought.
I like that.
if you math it out, the axe is still the best.
It's still the
The
best.
sword.
here's the
I
last
like
one.
the sword, man.
Here's sword, strength user, AP -3.
Yeah.
That will be hilarious.
So like what the nerd internet webs tell me is that the sword is better than the axe on either end of the toughness spectrum. So like it's better at wounding toughness 3, and it is the same at wounding higher toughness on 6s, and you get the better AP on that.
Right.
But for all middle ground, the axe is gonna be better because it's gonna wound a lot more things easier.
Right.
And
But I mean, when you think about it too, I would rather deny somebody a save than wound on a 2. Like, especially against Dark Eldar, if you're fighting Incubi or an Archon or Eldar or whatever, if they have power armor,
Yeah.
I'm still wounding you on 3s.
Yeah.
And you're not getting a save.
But the big difference is you're not swinging last with the axe anymore.
Yes,
So if
that's huge.
Charge in with a squad of axes and wound
Like-
everything on 3s and they're all taking 6-ups, that's why it's probably dead.
True. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
so now my Phalanx warders are just going to be axe and stuff in the
Dude, Gorgon
face.
Terminators. I'm pumped.
Axe. Can't wait.
So it's funny, we're all talking about Horus Heresy examples right now.
Yep.
We
We
don't
will
know.
find out. We're recording this right now on a Thursday before the Warhammer Fest. We find out this weekend
excited.
what's happening with Horus Heresy.
So yeah, what just came out today though is a bunch of the orc profiles, the faction focus. So their choppas are the same as chainswords. They get
Plus
the
one
extra attack.
Yeah.
And big choppas are almost the same as they are now. It's +2 strength, and it's -1 AP, which is
So a little bit
it's
better.
close
than
to
Way
a-
better than what
it's
it is.
close to an AP4, I guess, kind of.
Well, it honestly harkens back to the days with the old chain axes and the chopper rules.
Yeah. So
It's like the best save you can take is a 4-up against these
Right.
weapons.
Well, and like
I
I
like that.
like that because now, if you're attacking Space Marine, it's not AP4, they get a 3-up, they get a 4-up because
it's -1.
right. Like
And the biggest thing for that profile is it does 2 wounds.
holy
So Terminators have 2 wounds. You swing your big choppa. The Terminator's taking a 3-up. He fails it. You straight up kill that Terminator.
It's straight damage too.
Yeah,
Damage two.
straight
Nice.
up damage.
That
Which
is-
is so cool.
And it should be like
Yeah.
big choppas should be big. And
Is it a
It's
choppa be-
it's like as big as a person.
Is it a big chopper or an ooge chopper?
Well, they
haven't released
that profile. Yeah, that's not.
I want to see what an ooge chopper does.
really big choppa?
All right, so let's say let's talk about
Don't get
dreadnoughts. So we've talked about the Leviathan, but let's talk about a standard dreadnought. It's toughness 7 and 8 wounds. How do we feel about that?
It was a Donald Trump joke. God, keep up.
Okay.
Uh,
I heard
Dreadnoughts
the
are
number
back!
8.
Yep, dreadnoughts. Like your regular Casa Ferrum, your box knots are back. Like,
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I have an ironclad, so I'm excited to see that profile too.
like
Just
I
like more wounds, higher toughness.
yeah, and won't get immobilized, guys.
Yeah.
Your dreadnoughts won't get immobilized. What's the saddest thing in the world?
We talked about that in the first episode.
Unimmobilized
Just an
dreadnoughts.
immobilized dreadnought, just so sad. Just
Double heavy flamers, just being like, don't come within 8 inches of me.
So you four know I'm a commission painter, and,
3 of us here.
and including myself.
We've done a lot of math tonight.
I've never painted a dreadnought for somebody before, because why would you? They're terrible. Nobody would want to pay lots of money for someone to paint.
You
it for
have
them.
some Raven Guard dreads.
I have 3 because I was silly just getting back into the game, and someone was like, "Here's 3 forgeable dreadnoughts." Like, amazing.
The first model I painted for my split scheme Space Marine armory was the ironclad, and it's huge. And I was like, this scheme's gonna be so fun to paint. But I thought the dreadnought was the first thing because they're awesome. They're so cool.
Yeah, and then
And
you went and
it's-
painted a marine, and you shot
And I was
yourself
like,
in the
this
nose.
is like 3-4 times smaller, and it's way worse.
All I remember is the preview for Dawn of War 2,
Yeah,
where the Space Marines are fighting the Eldar, and the dreadnought just shows up and just starts killing Eldar left,
Yeah,
right, and
he does
center.
a 360 on the top of his legs. Just
Yeah,
like,
picks one up,
roasts it with a heavy flamer.
flames him with a heavy flamer. Dreadnoughts are back.
That's what I mean. They're so great in the fluff and such a huge part of the universe. It sucks that nobody uses them.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go buy one probably.
and so
I want to buy another one.
to that point, I have 2 Grey Knight dreadnoughts on my workbench right now. because someone's so excited for 8th edition.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is good for business. For
I think
you.
it's just like even weapon profiles make them better. Like a twin link las cannon is now 2 las cannon shots.
Yeah.
So I think you can take 1 on each arm, right?
Yeah.
So you have a dreadnought shooting 4 las cannon shots.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Well, that makes rifle dreads way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're taking
Really cool.
8 autocannon shots.
And they're harder to kill. So like he's gonna shoot turn 1, he's gonna get shot at, probably live. Shoot another 4 shots, maybe he dies turn 2, but like he's done some work.
Yeah, as opposed to just one lucky multi-gun pop.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the possibilities that data sheets are going to bring to this game.
Yeah.
So lastly, I think we can cap this all off with points and power levels. Let's have a discussion
Yes.
about all that.
Take us through that, Connor.
I am super excited for power levels. I think it's a great addition, and like I was saying before, I don't play Age of Sigmar, so I don't know really about the mortal wounds and like how their balancing power levels all works out. But for 40k, I think it's really great because there's such a huge buy-in for a new player. Where if they just buy a starter box, some of those don't actually fulfill the 7th edition CAD rule stuff.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
So like if you buy that for 8th and everything has its data sheet and they all have power levels on it, you can just be like, oh, this box that I built has a power level of 50. Do you want to play a game? And you'd be like, yeah, I got 50 points. I'll just add that up. Good to go. Just start right away.
Yeah, it just like lowers the barrier for
Yeah.
entry, which is good for all of us.
And
Do we have any examples of power level for units? I think
So the Rubric Marines had one. I can't remember what it was.
Power level 5.
5.
so. I
A tactical squad is 4.
yeah
And I'll save this for our fun time, but the Primaris Marines are 6.
yeah, and the Leviathan Dreadnought was 16,
Right.
Yeah,
which is that's when you're talking like 10 guys is power level 4.
I think the tax squad's
5
5
guys.
guys. So
5 guys.
So it'd be like so it's like
10 guys is 6
7
or 8.
maybe or
Yeah.
8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, that's double.
Yeah.
Which I guess.
But,
yeah.
but I think so like power levels is just like a quick pickup. I don't think it has to be super balanced. That's
No.
the whole
No,
point
no.
of having the points separate is that can be balanced to a tournament level.
Yeah.
Where power levels you can just be like, let's pick up and do a quick game.
Yeah, and like power levels don't take into account any upgrades that exist. in
Everything's always the same static power level, whether you have 10 combat plasmas on your stern guard or none.
the- Yeah.
They're always going to be whatever they come out to be.
Because it's just like a friendly thing.
And I think it's really up, and obviously you can see some opportunities to break this,
Yeah.
but I think it's really up to the community in general to kind of police that. Because like our guys, for example, if I said, "Hey Connor, do you want to play 100 power level point game?" Connor's not going to show up with 10 stern guard with plasma guns.
No.
Yeah,
And like
100%.
also, I think the biggest thing is I don't have the models for that. So, like,
So you're saying you would do
I
that?
wouldn't do that anyways, because like I'm not gonna go buy another 10 stern guard and put plasma guns on all of them and paint them just so that I can cheese a power level game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
and also that's not what the power level games are going to be for.
Exactly.
We have matched play to do that.
Right.
And
And
match
then
play, I'm super excited for.
you're paying points for all those upgrades, so it's like that forces you to not take 10 plasma guns because you don't. That's way too expensive, right? So
Yep.
I think it's like a really good balance for playing a fun game, playing a fluffy game, playing with a new player. All the data sheet stuff is there, so like it's another easier way to get new players to come in and play quickly.
It's also
It's a really good change. No.
and like it's a nice thing at a glance to be able to be like, this unit is roughly as effective as this unit. Like
Yeah.
it is a quantified rating system.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna be able to say like, well, Primaris Marines are a little bit better than like Rubric Marines because of the power level.
Or close to similar or whatever. Yeah.
Now, have
An
we?
interesting thing is how would that scale with say a drop pod getting added to a unit of stern guard? So you think about this: a unit of stern guard that has to walk across the table is infinitely show up right next to something that you need dead right then and there on turn 1, guaranteed. Right?
In
how do you
seventh.
scale in 7th? Right? To be fair. But how do you scale the combat effectiveness along with that?
Well, what we've seen for the example in the Rubric Marines one was it was like you can add up to 5 Rubric Marines to this squad, which increases their power level to this. You can add an additional number of Rubik Marines, which then increases their power level to this.
Yeah.
So
So
as far
similar
as
to points, but still generic.
we don't know how dedicated transports are going to work. They
don't.
might have their own battlefield role.
Well, it's going to have its own data sheet, and a data sheet has a power level.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So if
we were overthinking that.
Yep.
Thanks, Paul.
if the options are there,
Editorial genius!
it would just be like, if you take a Rhino, increase the squad's power level by 3. If you take a drop pod, increase the squad's power level by 4.
Or just refer to the data sheet of the transport you're taking.
And, and add that power level.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense to me. Now I know we've seen a lot of examples of power level. Have we seen any examples of match play points?
There's been nothing.
Nothing yet.
They explained the points.
But they haven't given
Actually,
any
we
in an
examples.
article.
A multi-melta costs 28 points.
That's true.
Yep.
Oh, does that
And-
include a Marine?
Not including
Grav
Marine.
pistol costs 7 points.
There you go.
Oh, these are stupid.
We're gonna end up with like 1498 point armies again.
And that's okay. Because, like, I'm the same. I'm so OCD with that. Like, it has to be
All right, searchlights on
multiple
everything.
of 5.
Yep.
But the way that I've kind of seen it explained is if you do all of your points balancing by 5s, you have to always have that balanced in a system where you can only have multiples of 5.
That's true.
So, like, if a grav pistol is 7 points, something that's 14 points can be 2 times as good as it, where something that's 5 points could be very close to as good as a grav pistol.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to balance that. And then when you have all of those different odd points numbers, maybe you'll get that double 0 at the end of your list, man.
Yeah. So the data sheets are going to be highly like specific to the units, whereas I think the match play points are going to be released and, like we said before, more of a liquid rule set.
Yeah.
Which is going to mean Games Workshop
Yeah.
or Forge World can make very quick changes to the point costs of things for competitive play. Because let's face it, that's where all these problems with overcosted, undercosted units come in, is really competitive because...
Yeah, that's where they start, but they trickle into the rest of the game.
Oh, they definitely do, yeah.
Yeah. Like a grav gun is 15 points and a plasma gun is 15 points. So, like,
Why would
you see people playing only plasma guns, so Games Workshop goes in to their digital copies and everybody's grav guns are now 20 points. You know? Like, they can edit that now. An eighth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To make it so that
They're like,
maybe,
okay, this is clearly better.
maybe you want to take plasma because it's a cheaper option. It's not as effective, but a grav gun is a highly old, ancient piece of technology, and everybody and their mother, Space Marine mother, should just have one.
Space Marine mother. That.
Space Marines have mothers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. They don't remember them.
Um,
I think that's really it for points and power level.
if we're talking about Space Marine
Oh,
mothers.
there's one more. Sorry, there's one more thing I want to touch on as far as points, and this is huge. As we're gonna come back to Tristan again. We love you, Tristan,
Eh.
but we kind of dislike playing you sometimes. There is a points cap for summoning. So
Yeah.
summoning,
Oh, yeah, that is a
summoning
big
still
thing.
exists in 8th edition, but what it means is, this is really cool. The way that it's been explained to me offers a great tactical depth. Let's say you have a 1500 point army and you have a sorcerer who can summon models. Usually, it used to be you had 1500 points and you can just summon models throughout the course of the game, sometimes ending up with like a 2000 point army on the table of just demons, which is not fun to play against.
Nope.
Now you have to set aside however many points you want to summon. So if you have a 1500 point army, you can only have 1300 points on the table and have 200 points set aside. But the cool thing is you can have different things within that 200 points set aside to bring into the game depending on what you need.
Yeah, I like
Which
that.
is super cool. I need anti-tank weapons. I need objective holders. I need close combat guys. If you have the models and you have them set aside, you can choose which ones to bring in.
Yep, I like that. I like it as simply a new sort of deployment method.
Yep.
That is the way that I think it always should have been. I think we saw that change in AOS.
It's for match play, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the way it makes sense to me is a sorcerer is gonna summon, and so they're gonna summon what they need in that moment, right? The sorcerer's watching the battlefield unfold,
Yeah.
and this chaos dude is like, Wow, yeah.
We don't need more Nurglings.
Yeah, they're holding down that objective over there already,
Yeah.
and they're doing good. Like, there's something over there, and so I need something to get over there quick. So I'm gonna summon in some demonettes on those steeds. Like, here we go.
And like from a fluff standpoint, I know I keep going back to this. It sort of represents the pacts that this sorcerer has with different warp entities. It's like he's not just summoning like bloodletters. He's summoning like Skullthorax, the bloodletteriest dude. Like it's a known thing to him.
You have to know their name, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So like
Not
if,
the real name.
just a name.
Just yeah.
Or if you have a grimoire, just it has this like fluffy explanation, which is really important to me.
So, having you say that opened up this possibility for me. Named demon characters, could you, if they're within the points that you've allotted for summoning, pull them in
Well,
directly?
We haven't seen summoning spells yet either.
Yeah.
We
so
haven't.
So each spell will assumedly summon a different type of demon.
This to me opens up some other possibilities in terms of reserves as well. You could have flexible reserves. We've talked about that when I've played in tournaments that have a sideboard, for example.
Yeah.
Right? You have an offensive and defensive sideboard. I think it would be a really cool opportunity to have a character or a unit that can call in reinforcements, and you don't have to have those reinforcements set in stone ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, I need a squad of tactical marines. I need a squad of devastators. I need a dreadnought coming in on a drop pod. This sort of thing just opens the door to that way of dealing with reserves, because you're fighting on the battle. You're not going to be like, all right, they have lots of tanks. Send in the scouts. They're outflanking.
So I'm, as a Luna Wolf player, I'm signaling up to the Vengeful Spirit. Hey, this
I
is...
thought you didn't like Horus.
It's not that I don't like Horus. I'm just staying loyal. So I play my army in a certain section of the timeline. Anyways. But
Nerd.
yeah, doesn't that make sense? That you call in what you need.
Yeah.
No, it makes so much
your
sense.
spaceship's sitting up there. It's got everything you need, and you just call in what you need.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool if like only very specific characters had that, like tactical
Yes.
characters.
Yes.
Well, and also like again, fluff standpoint, it's not guys are late. It's you're requisitioning.
Reinforcements.
Because you like, I study military history, and it's not guys are late. You don't commit your full force to the battle at the start of the battle.
Yeah.
You have things in reserve, and you go, okay, we've crushed their right flank. Send in the cavalry, and let's loop in behind them. Not just like, all right, cavalry, everyone just line up and go.
Unless you're orcs.
Sure. Even then, they're brutal but cunning.
I feel like that's
Or cunning
cool.
but brutal, it's true.
There you go.
Points, yeah, I think this is great. It's going to add a lot of depth to the game, and I'm really looking forward to playing both power level games and match point games. It's also going to really change the tournament scene as well, because you're going to have the ability to set like, this is a beginner tournament, this is power level, this is a match play tournament, this is points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what some of the more like prominent tournament organizers do with 8th edition. I think it's going to open it up. You're going to see more novice players want to try out tournaments, I hope.
Yeah, all those guys who did ITC stuff in Las Vegas Open, like they were part of the balance team too, right? So
Yep. Like that's a huge
got it.
olive branch to that whole side of the community.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Because like GW's got fluff on lock. Like
That's not the issue. Fluff
Right.
has never been the issue.
Exactly.
It's balancing gameplay.
yeah.
I think that wraps it up for our main topic.
So let's move into our fun time.
Fun time!
Time.
Fun time.
Let's talk about new Space Marines. Is it an excuse to sneak in true scale Space Marines into the regular line and get rid of old Space Marines? Or is it...
Tinfoil hats.
Yeah, is it dope as hell? I do actually kind of think that it is a soft reboot of the Space Marine line, like in a way, but they're really cool.
They look so good, man.
I know, and like, all right, here's the one thing that made me like so on board with them. Just when they were like, yeah, they have interchange, like their heads and shoulder pads are swappable with the line of regular Marines. I was like, amazing, like a converter's dream.
Do you know what sold me on them?
What's that?
The fact that the helmetless ones have their helmets on their belts.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
That makes so much sense.
yes.
Or yeah, the guy's holding it in his hand too. I think.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
Like, from a design point of view, the only thing I have a problem with is the tiny little ridge on a knee pad.
Oh, you don't like that at
I
all.
don't. It really bugs me. It's
Oh,
probably good and stops you from getting
That-
shot in the groin.
Yeah.
That's not the only thing. I'm gonna call you out on it because I know that you don't like the shields on the pistols.
I don't
I
like the
hate
shield.
those. They're so stupid.
No, they make sense.
What?
Why?
Because a Space Marine doesn't aim down the iron sights of a gun.
Yeah, but why does he have shields
Here's-
on a pistol?
So here's my thought.
Because
I do
it's-
have an answer.
Because it goes brap, and you don't want it to go brap in your face.
That's-
No,
that's
Guns
the
are
very-
directional, dude.
Yeah, but things go sideways. That's what it's. Whatever.
It's not a shotgun pistol.
Okay, I don't know if any of that made sense, but here's my response.
They're
to you.
mini rockets.
Nick, be quiet. So here's
Dad
my
mode.
thought. If you are floating in the air above the rest of the battlefield, you have no cover. You have nothing else, right? You're primarily shooting with two hands right in front of you,
Yeah.
aiming at people, right, and blasting those guns off.
You can't see, but we're both holding up fake pistols.
Let's all do it.
We're
a
acting.
Mexican
We're
standoff.
acting this out. And you're getting shot back at. You don't have cover to hide behind.
You
that
want the
little bit of
shields.
extra armor on your gun might help prevent you from dying.
Okay.
It's true.
It's like having a
Combat shield.
What's it called on a sword? That
A
covers
hilt.
your hand. A hilt. Yeah.
No.
I guess kind of.
Yeah,
Blade
it's
guard. Oh, the hilt's at the
Oh,
bottom.
the hilt's
of
at
the
the bottom.
sword.
Yeah.
Cross guard.
Sure.
Guys, we don't know weapons.
I know
Only
what.
40,000 year-old guns. Yeah.
Okay, so those are my
1,000-year-old guy.
those are my two designs.
This is a club. I know how this works.
You actually also don't like the jetpacks, I think.
No, I
Oh, do
love-
you hate
Do you
these
like-
Marines?
No, I love the jetpacks. I love
Okay.
the fact that they have like foot controls.
I love the jetpacks.
Oh, I didn't
too.
even notice that.
How hard they aim into the ground all the time?
Yeah.
They have like little robot.
Like to imagine a dude like kind of moving his legs to vector the big jet engines on his back.
So we've got really excited about these Primaris Marines. I want to roll it back a little bit and let's throw it out there. What is a Primaris Space Marine?
Well, Nick, I'm glad you asked. A Primaris Space Marine.
What is the meaning of life?
42.
So, Gulliman is back. Him and his buddy Call went to Mars, and they were like, "Listen, there's been this plan to make better Space Marines," and everyone's like, "Oh, they're new Space Marines." This goes back to the fluff. Like Korax was trying to do it during the Heresy.
Fabulous Bill was.
Fabulous Bile has always been doing it. I only got it half right. Like there was this cool piece in White Dwarf, I remember, like way back, where a bunch of like relic hunting magos like go to this place and they essentially see a bigger Space Marine, like it's rotted and its like body has been dissected, and they're like, "What the heck?"
That's cool.
Yeah, like
So it's like one of Call's first goes or something.
yeah, so it was like I think it was like more on the Fabulous Bill side of things,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's like
Yeah.
this has always been in the fluff, like someone trying to perfect the gene seed issues. Obviously, it makes sense that a primer comes back and he's like, one, science is a thing that goes forward, you weird Luddites.
Even in the Imperium.
Even in the Imperium.
And just to add to that point, you posted this the other day in our group chat. But the reason I like these guys so much is because like this is science.
Yep.
These are advanced scientific warriors. If you've noticed, if you've seen any of the pictures, there's no iconography.
Nope.
There's no
There's like
purity seals.
there's a couple of purity
They
seals.
have,
Oh!
they have a couple little relics.
Yeah.
But it's not like the...
It's not to the same extent. Like this is new. These guys look like Space
From
Marines.
the Age of Progress.
These are
Like,
from
Yeah.
the Age of Progress. It
Like-
harkens back to like
the Primarchs.
the Primarchs. Like these are not ritual warriors. These are dudes bred and made to fight.
But they're still ritual warriors. Like, we're gonna get that. That is the one of the things that makes a Space
So
Marine.
I think one of the coolest things in the fluff that also kind of makes it a soft reboot, which I am not opposed to really, is that current Space Marines can get the advanced like gene seed or whatever it is and
Yeah.
become Primaris Marines.
Yeah.
So do they just get like shin extensions?
I think
Yes.
this is,
Get a little bit taller.
the dudes get all roided up.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
I think, yeah, it'll be a cool thing to, like, it's been said that there's going to be, like, new chapters entirely of these Primaris
Yeah.
Marines. Where are you going to get a chapter master? Oh, well, this captain who's in the Imperial Fist, he wants a promotion and he doesn't want anyone to die. So
I think it opens up a lot of really
take
cool...
drugs.
Give me the drugs. I think it opens up a lot of really cool fluff avenues for certain characters that are like opposed to it too,
Yeah.
where they don't want any of their soldiers or themselves to like become primary.
Oh, I
because
definitely see some Space Marine chapters being like, no, we're pure.
like the Black Templars just
Oh,
being
yeah,
like, hell no.
You're heretics.
Well,
I think that's cool.
And
So is this the beginning of heresy number 2?
Who knows?
Oh.
oh no, I don't think old
The
Gold
Lion comes back and the Dark Angels were traitors all along.
They were.
Split off.
We know that they were. It's been
and like the
proven.
Lion was
Cypher's around, right?
Yeah, he's balling around
Doing
with-
I
stuff.
thought he's locked up in the Emperor's throne room.
Maybe that's
Have you ever tried to
just
lock
as
up-
planned.
Yeah, have you ever tried to lock up Cypher? That's his thing.
No, I haven't.
Oh well, if he comes around.
Because I'm a Chaos player and I like to let him loose.
But yeah, no, there's like this thing where in the fluff, the Black Templars, I think, capture him, and like the Dark Angels find out about it. So like the Dark Angels start to attack, but then they realize that Cypher has been gone for like days.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the Primaris Marines. They have new armor.
Mhm.
They have new weapons.
Yeah.
And the thing that I like too, that I'm actually very happy about, is that they're not super powerful.
No.
They're very well balanced. Well, we've seen one squad so far, which is the Primaris Marine equivalent to a tactical squad,
Mhm.
which
Is called?
the Intercessor Squad.
But they're not as tactically flexible.
No, they harken back a lot from what we've seen. Harkens back. Let's say harken one more time to more 30K style rule sets. If you've seen the pictures for the starter set,
Yeah.
the support squad with the new plasma guns, very excited for those. All 5 of the guys have them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even the sergeant.
Even the sergeant. The Intercessor squad, they all have the same weapons.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think we're going to see maybe... I don't want to see a 10-man unit of plasma guns.
I don't think...
They go above
Have we seen
5.
the data slate for the Intercessors?
Yes.
I don't know.
Does it say they can take additional Marines?
I have it up here.
Doesn't say they can take them.
Yes.
Oh.
That's on it, but it's not. It doesn't look to me like it's a full data slate because it doesn't have any special rules.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
okay.
just the unit profile. Okay.
It has their power level, it has their battlefield role, their stat line, and their weapon options,
Yeah.
and keywords, but no special rules, which I don't believe that a unit like this would have no special rules. Because
Yeah.
they would at least have, and they shall know no fear, which it says, but it doesn't say what it does.
Yeah. I think there was another chaos rule too that they're like holding stuff back. They don't want to spoil everything.
No.
Right?
No, for sure, yeah.
But yeah, so I think it was Paul that said it, that they're not like super powerful. We've just recently seen how objectives work, and it's
Let's give some context to as powerful, just so people understand.
Yeah, so we're going...
So their power level 6,
okay. So
Okay.
they're like one better than attack squad.
2 better than task squad. Okay, and the only difference on the profile is they have 1 more wound and 1 more attack base.
Yep.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Well, but they are all armed with a better bolter.
Right, and the better gun.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
a little bit more range, and it has a -1 AP.
Yeah,
Where
that's right.
normal bolters have no armor pen anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's a call pattern bolt
Yeah.
gun.
So if you can only take them in squads of 5, there's still a spot in your army for attack squads, because holding objectives you have to have more troops within 3 inches of the objective.
We just learned this today.
And troops means models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, which is
so
very,
if-
very,
so if you have-
very different than what it is now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally different
Mhm.
with like OBSEC and all that stuff. So like having the 5 Primaris Marines standing there with their 30-inch bolters pinging away, if you get 10 TAC Marines up there, it's yours. It doesn't matter how quote unquote powerful they are, right?
Yeah. So I think they did like really address the issue of like who's better at what. Like,
Yeah, they're a support unit. Like they're beefy and they have long range, but they really can't hold an objective that well.
No, and it's 5 models that have the same amount of wounds, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a 10 wound unit.
Yeah.
It's just that you can do hypothetical 5 wounds to it, and it doesn't affect its battlefield capabilities.
Yeah, here's the thought on this. Like, how many times have we showed up, said, let's play a Maelstrom game, we put down 6 tactical objectives, and half of them are just in the middle of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Mhm.
not like in a building or in a... Like a lot of them, it's just like holding key areas of the battlefield.
Yeah.
And for that, it's not just about how amazing you are as this one dude.
Or
Like,
a rhino.
Yeah.
Or a drop pod.
It's literally holding space, and you need bodies to hold space.
Yep.
Yep.
That's we talked about it a bit today, earlier today, about tactical objectives. We're going to get more into missions in a later episode, but this changes to objectives, I think, is going to be huge, because one of the I remember one of the first Maelstrom of War missions in 7th edition I played was against a drop pod army, and it was just 4 drop pods on the objectives with objectives secured, and every time he drew it, he's like, that's mine. That's my objective. Your drop pod can't hold an objective.
Yeah. It's like, you have 2 guardsmen standing there, that's yours.
Yeah.
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 Because the drop pod's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to Primaris Marines.
Yeah.
No, we had a nice excursus on objectives.
We've also seen the Gravis power armor on the captain that's coming in the starter set. So this looks like it's going to be a modification to either the Mark X or it's just entirely
10, right?
Yeah.
10.
So what happened to 9? Is it like Windows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows XE?
A resounding
Maybe,
yes.
or like it might be something as simple as Mark 9 is for itty bitty Space Marines, right? Like
Call uses XE.
yeah,
Is that what we're calling them now, Paul? Itty bitty Space Marines?
compared.
Oh man, the Primaris Marines are not going to go over well with the old guys.
No,
Hey, itty bitty one. I'm taking orders from me now.
So we have 3 loyalist players here. How many starter set boxes are you buying?
well, I'm only buying the one.
Yeah, Paul and I are going to split one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that many Primaris Marines, man. I think they're really cool, and I think the fluff is interesting,
Just sell them to Paul.
but I don't know if I want that many. I think the plasma guys look awesome, and the plasma guns look sick. So I want to see the stats on those, and I'd like to have a couple, like, accompanying my chapter as a new Primaris chapter.
Yeah, that's
So like I can fluff it to be in my army, interestingly. But I think having like 1 or 2 squads maybe. So I don't know if I'm gonna buy a starter set.
well, I just don't know how to fit them into my fluffy Imperial Fist army, because Imperial Fist took huge casualties around Gathering Storm, so they need the reinforcements. That's sort of what these Primaris Marines are for. So I don't know if I'm just gonna like stuff them right in, or if I'm gonna do like a second founding chapter. I'm gonna have to go into my like nerd reservoirs.
Yeah.
and
It would be really
Just
cool
like dream about
to
it.
kind of do like your Imperial Fist chapters, like, because a lot of these new Marines are vat grown. We've talked a little bit about how existing Marines can get the upgrade, but there was a teaser trailer a little while ago. These are clearly vat grown Marines, which means they don't have a lot of combat experience.
yeah.
So it would be very cool to do an Imperial Fist thing with like a successor chapter of Primaris Marines, and you're like, we're gonna teach you how to fight, and you may be big, but we know how to fight.
Yeah, and also like I always laugh at the idea of like making a Space Marine bigger makes him better, and then all of a sudden you're 9 feet tall and dressed like a fridge. Like it's not gonna be better.
To the wall.
All those cultists went into the sewer. Crap.
I guess they're gone. They might as well be in China. Like,
Get the scouts.
yep,
Get the scouts.
grease me up.
Oh, give me a pistol and a flashlight. I'm gonna go in there with my underwear and clean them all out.
Lasgun?
Vietnam style.
Yeah, like that's something that always makes me laugh. Like that is just a silly thing.
Yeah, Terminators are excellent in close quarters combat. I'm like, a Terminator can't turn around in this apartment building's hallway.
Yeah, it would be like putting on a smart car and trying to start a fist fight.
To be fair, he could turn around, but he'd take part of the building with him.
He'd probably just fall through the floor the minute he stepped on the second floor.
In this particular apartment building, yes.
Can we go into like rumors?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
This is fun time.
fun time, happy fun time. So talking about the Gravis armor, I read today that it isn't a 2-up or like a replacement for Terminator. It actually increases the captain's toughness by 1,
Oh, that's cool.
I like
and it's
that.
like modular to like attach to the Mark X.
Yeah,
that
that's-
you thought it might
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And it was someone because I guess some of the Games Workshops have starter sets already.
They do.
That
I've seen some painted up.
Yeah, they're
models.
painting for the June 3rd demo stuff.
Yeah.
So someone posted a picture being like, you actually build the guy and then add the plates onto his Mark X.
Oh, that's cool.
That is
which is like
so
pretty
cool.
awesome. And so I don't know, it's just interesting to see
I do.
what happens with that.
I like that as a change to just modifying armor stays based on the Mark
Yeah.
armor.
Yeah, now he's wearing a bike.
It'd be easy to do that.
He's so tough on that bike.
It'd be easy to do that with his own data slate, right? It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
saying this type of character always has this kind of armor, and this is data slate is plus 1
Yeah.
toughness. His
Yeah.
toughness 5.
Or
Yeah.
for one power point, he can upgrade to Gravis armor, which gives him +1 toughness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no longer does a last cannon wound him on 2s. Now it's on 3s.
Ooh.
Yeah, right?
That's a good point.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just digging it. I'm digging from the fluff aspect, the interplay of like these new gene seeds with like your blood angels or your space wolves.
Because it still takes all the
Yeah, so like
mutations and stuff, right?
yeah, so
So we got werewolf Primaris Marines and vampire Primaris Marines.
yeah,
Interested to see where that goes. It's going to open up some very cool possibilities.
you're just gonna have like dark blacker skinned salamanders. I don't know, like are they gonna grow fangs? Are they gonna shoot fire? Who knows? The world's gonna be cool.
I don't know. I'm as the only Heretic Astartes player here, I'm very excited to see the flip side
Trademark.
to this. I'm hoping Fabulous Bill comes back because he's got to have some of his own mutated.
Fulgrim's like slithering around, isn't he?
Fulgrim's sleeping around doing stuff. Fabulous Bile's been building Marines for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
How many times did he clone Ferrus Manus for their little bromance?
How many times did he clone himself?
Ferris always just like has a temper tantrum and is like, no.
Oh yes, because Fabulous Bile has cloned himself about a dozen times
Yeah,
just for fun.
that's
And
hilarious.
they don't even know that they're clones. They think they're Fabulous Bile. So there's this, like, the fluff opportunity is going to be great. A lot of people are complaining. But you know what?
Yeah,
You're
we
gonna
have-
hobby it anyways.
We have 7
Exactly.
fatigue.
yeah.
We all do.
Well, like
The fluff hasn't moved in 3 editions. The one time they did the Eye of Terror campaign, they retconned it because Chaos just wiped the floor with everybody.
but in the Gathering Storm, Chaos makes this huge impact. So it's like
They did exactly what they did in the Eye of Terror campaign 5 years, 7, 10, I'm old.
Yeah.
10 years ago?
Dude, I
Stop it.
I started working at Games Workshop 12 years ago. I worked there for 4 years, and it was somewhere in the middle. So 10 years ago, probably.
Oh.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's cool to see that someone was like, "Hey, remember that good idea that everybody had and we
Yeah.
didn't like?"
Everybody had a ton of fun. It was sick.
We didn't understand the internet and that people could lie on the internet about the games they had played.
People wouldn't do that. Just go onto the internet and lie.
What kind of society would we be living in?
BRB, gotta go catfish some pedophiles.
Fun time.
Speaking of which, this entire podcast, we have told the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
To our
All
knowledge.
opinions from Paul do not
Yeah,
reflect the rest of us.
He's wearing a tinfoil hat right now.
I need it.
Sweet. Guys, are we done with today?
I think we're wrapping
Someone
it up
needs
for
to stop
today.
us.
Beautiful. So, if you are interested in what's coming up next episode, we think we are going to talk about the stratagems and exactly what you can do with your command points, as well as talk about maybe some army-specific things. Right? There's been a lot of army profiles put out there, a lot of reviews, and so we're going to look through some of those and just have fun with that. So, if you enjoyed this, stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah. One more thing before we go, we now know the release dates for the 8th edition starter set and the rules and everything.
Mm-hmm.
June 3rd is going to be the pre-release.
Pre-order date.
So I will just throw money at something I haven't seen physically yet. And then June 17th is going to be the actual release at the Sword and Board. Again, that's at Bloor and Brock in Toronto. There will be a release event. So if you're interested in learning about 8th edition, meeting us in person, Paul may sign something
Whatever
for you.
you got.
Whatever you got, your car,
Dump it out.
your
I'll sign it.
glasses,
Tinfoil hat.
tinfoil hat. We'll be there to play games. One of the coolest parts about 8th edition is we're all going to be learning this together from scratch. A lot of the accrued knowledge of veterans is going to be gone.
Yeah.
Useful, but gone. I'm going to have to get it out of my head somehow. So June 17th, put it on your calendar. Sword and Board, behind the pizza, Rock and Bloor.
New terrain.
We're going to have new terrain. Thanks, Connor.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be
Come hang out.
bigly terrain. It's going to be the best terrain you've ever seen.
Bye.
Just get us out of here, for God's sakes.